Welcome to MarcusG.tv. I am Chef Marcus Giuliano. I am a chef on a mission. Today's mission is sort of economics. You know, what drives me crazy in the restaurant industry is that we get all this cheap products from China, and it just drives me crazy. I mean, from the metal shelving to all kinds of food products to chopsticks I mean, you name it. Stuff walks in the door all the time from China. But here's what's really disturbing. You know, I really have curbed all of our imported China, especially Chinese or those other countries where they don't do unfair labor practices. I've really curbed all of that for the last several years and really made a big push to buy more higher quality. We've always bought high quality food, but higher quality like utensils and things like that, and really been focused on where that stuff comes from. You know, like serving spoons and stuff like that, and plates. I'm really conscious of all that. Not perfect, but conscious, and trying to make the best choices when I can. I was shocked the other day. I went through my clothes at home because my closet was overloaded, and I said, you know, let me get rid of some clothes here. And I went through and I looked at a lot of older clothes that I have, you know, shirts that are 10 and 20 years old. I have a couple shirts that are 22 years old, and great high quality polo shirts that I still wear and that are in great shape. But I'm looking through all the labels. All this stuff is made in like Malaysia, China, Indonesia, and I'm just like, through all of the 100 pieces of clothing, there was like 2 products that were made in the USA. I got really upset about it. Now my jeans, I've always tried to buy American-made jeans, so my jean shelf is in pretty good shape when it comes to American jeans. But shirts and everything are just, it's really disgusting that we've lost so much. You know, we've lost up to 2000, from the early 80s up to 2003, we've lost 22 million jobs in America that have been outsourced to China. Over 90% of the products in Walmart are from China, and another 4% are companies that are Chinese owned in Walmart. So so what's the solution here? I mean, how do we bring jobs back to America? Here's what I personally think we should do. I think we're going to walk into a clothing store, because these clothing manufacturers are the biggest culprits. It's so hard to find American clothing. I think there should be tags on everything. First of all, a big American-made tag, the union tag, the women's fair labor, if it's called women's fair labor or something, because there can be sweatshops here in America too, and there are, and I've heard a lot of stories, but that's typically not the case. So have a big Made in America flag, some kind of big endorsement, and then on the other clothes that are made in China or other places, put an additional tax on them. Put a 10, 15, 20% tax. So this shirt's $10 plus a 20% tax, okay? That the American consumer has to see, well, I have to pay this tax. And now have the manufacturer of the clothes match that 20% tax. So we're taking 40%, okay? So it's gonna raise the price of the shirt, and the Americans are not gonna say, well, you have to pay 20% tax. Take that 40% and put it towards our unemployment, put it towards our Social Security, put it towards our labor force, towards our workforce, put it towards insurance or whatever, health insurance. Lower our medical insurance, because that's really killing us in America, our high cost of medical insurance. But put it towards something to benefit our workforce here in America, and make the American consumer conscious that, hey, I'm paying 20% more here because I'm choosing to buy a Chinese shirt, because I'm choosing to buy something that's cheap and fair, and take away from American jobs, and have that money go towards, towards where the jobs are being lost. You know, because it's ridiculous. We've lost so many jobs. I live in a town here of 4,000 people, and we used to have 3 major manufacturers here. Schrade Cutlery, Channel Master, and Hydro Aluminum was here. All these jobs have since been gone. Either the companies are out of business, outdated, or they've been shipped out. There used to be other companies here. There used to be a clothing company here. It's a block from my restaurant here. There's this huge warehouse that used to make American clothing, kids clothing. No longer here, outsourced. And it's really disgusting. And I go into stores now, and it's like, I really look, and I'm really conscious to buy American made. Am I perfect? No. Am I near perfect? No. But now I've been online and really researching online, like really American clothing. and I'm really much more conscious now. When I walk into a store, it's like, you know what, I really have second thoughts about buying cheap, inferior stuff when we're losing jobs here in America. I mean, the way to save our economy is to get our jobs back. The way to get more people in my restaurant is if more people have jobs and better paying jobs. And how do you do that? Because you keep the money here in America. You keep us sustainable. But all these corporations, you know, have downsized, outsourced, sold out, gotten cheaper products, and just taken and closed American factories and just shipped them out of the country. And the sad thing is sometimes they don't lower the price. They're there to make more money. They're still keeping that $15 shirt or $10 shirt, $20 shirt still the same price. But they're making much more money because they're now involved in shareholders, a board of directors. They want to make more money. How do we make more money? I mean, you look at Steve Jobs and these computer things, they're all made in Foxconn in China. You know they have nets around the building because people commit suicide because the working conditions there are so poor. And Apple is one of the largest cashed up companies. I think they made like $13.2 billion or $1 million, something ridiculous last quarter, ridiculous number. And people are committing suicide in the factory there because of unfair labor or no paid labor. Foxconn has actually an agreement with the universities or the Chinese government that the students to get a business degree have to actually work so many free hours at the Foxconn's plants because it's free labor. And if they don't do this free labor, so-called interns, they have to, and it's this tedious labor. If you've ever taken apart an iPhone and looked at all the intricate parts in there, I mean, just to assemble these things, I mean, it's just painstaking and really in the conditions there and the amount of hours they work are horrendous. You know, so to get a degree in business or something, you have to go do these free slave labor internships. And then we have to pay, you know, hundreds of dollars for an iPod and an iPad and iPhone or whatever the smartphones are. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. So we really need to focus on and be conscious of, you know, American-made products. You know, that's the way to go. Buy American, support American. I have a whole American vodka program, and you know, a lot of vodka comes from European countries, and I don't, have any quarrels with European products as opposed to Chinese products. But still, I want to support the American craft distillers on vodka, and it's really important to me. The most of my beer list is American beer, craft American beer. And there's a lot of locally made or United States made products still that are owned by other companies outside of the country, and the tax credits these massive companies get is just ridiculous, and the money never comes back to the actual consumer, where the consumers are the one who actually can put the money back in circulation. They're the ones who can come eat at my restaurant. They're the ones who can now afford to actually go out and buy American clothes and buy American products. But a lot of the stuff that I was looking at online, I did a lot of research. A lot of the stuff is the same price as the cheap imported Chinese stuff, and it's really amazing. Sure, there's some high-end stuff, I looked at some stuff that was like some shirts for $125 and jeans that were way up there in the hundreds of dollars. But there were jeans that were $29, $39 that were made in Texas, American made. So there's no excuse for us not to source these out. So now here's a question I have for the average consumer. Would you rather buy from a locally independently owned store where you can walk in and talk to the owner that's selling cheap Chinese stuff, or would you rather walk into a big box store and buy something that's American made? That's a tough question. I don't know the correct answer for that. So to go into an independent store where you can talk to the owner and have jobs in that community, provide jobs in that community who's making money off of cheap Chinese products, but you're contributing to local jobs, or go into a big chain store and buy an American-made product that's supporting an American factory that's supporting so many jobs. I mean, I really don't know the answer to that question. For me, I think American's the most important thing, to buy the American and support whatever companies are choosing to support American. But because in the shoe industry, forget in the shoe industry. There's like one New Balance pair that's still made in the U.S. running shoes, and they're like $150. And you look at all these other high-end tech running shoes, these minimalist shoes, that none of them is made in America. So what are you supposed to do? Yeah, you can run barefoot. That's a big movement now, running barefoot. But a lot of people don't do that. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is here on certain things. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. Save America, support American products, buy American products, and tell the stores and tell our congressmen take this video and tweet it. Send it to our congressman. Send it to that gang of 535 there at the White House in Washington, D.C. and tell them, let's get our jobs back here in America. Support American. Let's buy American. Let's do it. We have the resources. We have the people willing to work. We have the empty buildings. We have the companies already. They're in business doing the products. So if you like this video, subscribe, like, share it, and send it to our Congress people and let them know what's important here in America. Thanks for watching. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. Not food today, but I'm just ranting about, economics and I guess hopefully economics that makes sense. Thanks for watching.